My name's Tracy Matson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, and I'm excited to be here. You can see Jade here in the background, who is all muddy because she's been out playing in her pool and rolling in the dirt. So she's filthy. She's always like, "Who, me? I don't ever do anything wrong." Let me close this. Oh, you can't lay on my lap right now. Okay. Sorry, that's a little bit darker, but it'll be easier without the glare. Hey, Emily. So if this is your first time joining, please put your name, like give me your name and state or country so I can enter you. Hi, Nicole. So I can enter you into the drawing that we'll do about 7:30, depending on how many questions we have. Um, so I'll wait. So did you guys see my post on Tupford like an hour ago when I said join in to hear about trainer fiasco? I had a fiasco today. Um, Speaking of, Maddie, it's just Excedrin. I'm going to take an Excedrin really quick because it's been a long day and I know I'm going to end up needing it. So, and since I don't have Diet Pepsi with me, I'm going to do Excedrin instead. And then I'll tell you all about my day. It's probably not a good idea to take like medication on a live stream, but it really is just Excedrin. So today I have a puppy board and train with me, and I've had this puppy before. Now I have her back, and she's done great in her crate. So today I get home and I walk in. So have you guys ever like walked in your house and just froze and gone like, oh my gosh? So she busted out of her crate, and I had a big box from Amazon that had kitty litter in it because I have the the litter box that like automatically scoops like the electric one. So it had that in it, and then she got up on the table and she ate all my dog's bully sticks and chewed up a bunch of paper. One was like a wedding invitation, which I couldn't go to anyway, but there were shoes scattered all over the floor. Luckily, none of them were chewed up. She just like picked them up and moved them. Um, but there was like cardboard and paper everywhere. I spent like a half hour cleaning everything up. I was so mad. I had to just like put her in her crate where I could supervise and make sure she didn't bust out of it again. Um, and then I had to just feed her and then put her outside and like chill for a little bit because I was livid. So luckily I had the dog door open. And so as soon as I came home, she comes running in the dog door like, hey, look what I did today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill you. My two of my dogs were in a crate, and Daphne was outside, but Daphne has free roam all the time, and she never gets into stuff. Plus, there's no way that Daphne can get up on the kitchen table. This dog, I don't know if just like she's big enough that she could get up and like just grab stuff, but I don't know if she jumped like on the table or just pulled stuff off. So it was a mess. And I still haven't gone outside to see if there's like I don't remember what was on the kitchen table because my cousin lives with me and he's got a bunch of stuff on there. So I don't know like if she grabbed stuff off and took it outside. I haven't looked yet. I did find a couple of caps that were chewed up, and I have no idea what was under the cap or what was on the other side of that. So I don't know what else is missing or what she got into, but yeah, I came home to a mess. It could have been much worse. Like she really could have done some damage, which thank goodness she didn't. And then she stayed outside with Daphne. I don't know how long, but anyway. So um, that was my day. I mean, that was for the past hour. I spent cleaning up, um, and feeding, and then like putting her outside for a while so I could like calm down before I brought her back in. So she did have some playtime outside before um, I brought her in, and she's in her crate now. So I'm going to see if she stays in or if she tries to bust out because now I can watch her. But I didn't want her scratching at the back door while I'm trying to do a live. So anyway, um, okay, so I hope we have a few more people, or you guys, you two better have a lot of questions. If we don't have anybody else, it might be short. Whoops. We might have a short night, but then you have like a 50-50 chance of winning. Wait, what did I drop? Just broke a pen. Um, oh, good. Allison's here. I just broke my pen. Hang on, I got to get another one. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's see if I can fix. Oh, I'll fix that later. I'll use this one. Okay, Allison. Oh, so you've had a few days similar to that. Um, yeah, it's. I mean, I've had that happen before, where I thought my dogs were great in the house and I could leave them, and then I come home and find like my living room toilet papered. Because they'll grab like the toilet paper out of the bathroom and then just like string it all over. I've had that happen since Maddie's on prednisone. Um, I've come home to find her. One time I left my treat bag on the coffee table, and she grabbed it, chewed it up, ate all the treats, and somehow got the zipper open on the back and scattered poop bags everywhere, like unused. But there was a whole roll of poop bags. Um, oh my gosh! So he got a whole box of bully sticks. So I had a sack of some. I have to have these long lasting chew items for Jade because when we do service dog training, she has to like settle for an hour in a restaurant, and she can have one chew item. And she's usually good about laying on her mat until um, she's done with the chew item, then she stands up. So I've had to like, I do turbo tendons and those work. Um, but I have to have a variety of stuff. So I just got some bully sticks for her and some like cow hoofs, and they were in a sack on the table, and she got all of those. She didn't have the cow hoofs eaten, but she did eat the bully stick, which was Jade's. And yeah. So anyway, that was my day, and a long training day as well. So um, let's see what. So what do you guys want to talk about? If we have a short group tonight, now you have 1 in 3 chance of winning. Um, but what do you want to talk about? Usually I try to talk about a training subject while we're waiting for people to get on. Um, but I don't really know what to talk about today, just because I've been dealing with that and I haven't um, had a chance to think about, oh, like what should we talk about? And I'm writing down names too. Okay. So, Nicole, I remember you're from Oklahoma. Allison, remind me where you're from. We have an Anita Solomon that joins every week, and I know where she's from, but I can't remember where you're from. So I'm sorry. If you can just tell me where you're from, then I can enter you into the drawing. Um, oh, let's see. Oh, Brooklyn. Awesome. Okay. Wilma did some scent training last week. Awesome. How did it go? I've been doing scent training with Jade, just because that's part of her service dog training, but it's super fun. Yesterday I did a little bit with a pit bull that I'm working with, and funny, she does not have the best nose. I could like scatter treats in front of her, and she would like just pass right over them. First pit bull ever that it was not like, oh my gosh, there's treats everywhere and trying to find them. So yeah, let me know how the scent training went. It's really fun, and sometimes you can be really creative with what you do with the scent training. Like right now, I'm using boxes, so I just like save all my boxes. Oh, good, she did well. Awesome. So I'll start with like 2 or 3 boxes, and then put a scent in one of them, and then I'll add boxes, and then I'll start to like hide stuff, and then you can use like drawers, stuff like that. So when I had to go to Cody, Wyoming once when my brother lived there, or not lived there, but they were there visiting in-laws. So I drove from Utah to Cody to see them and took my search and rescue dog. And we stayed in a motel. And one thing I would always do is like we'd go get our room, I'd unload my stuff, um, and then whenever we'd come back to our room, like I would sit him down, and then I would have him find our room, and like he would like sniff every door and go like room to room, sniff every door, and then as soon as he got to our room, he would always sit because he knew like he could tell like from my clothes or whatever was inside, he could tell that his that was our room. Hey Stella, you're fine. Sorry, puppy. Um, so yeah, you can have some fun with nose work. Okay, Allison, I have a behavior that I can't seem to redirect with Tink. She scratches my couch and other household items like crazy. Usually try to redirect into a play or training session or give a chew, but it rarely works. Um, okay, so sometimes they will. Do you mean like so my dogs will get on the couch and like they'll try to like nest, so they'll like scratch the couch. Um, and I will just do like a hey enough or and then I will like direct them to their mat. So like they are allowed to like scratch or nest their mat or their bed, but not the couch. So I redirect them to like their own bed, and then I will give them a chew um, on their own bed. And it does take a lot of repetition, unfortunately, because that's something that a lot of dogs do naturally. I mean, my dogs, I have to interrupt them all the time in the backyard because they're digging in the dirt. Like they're digging in the dirt to lay in the cool dirt, but I don't want them digging up my lawn. So I always have to like redirect, hey, I'm not there. And then they do have one spot where they can dig. So it's like, here, you guys can dig here, but you can't dig right here or scratch. So yeah, it does just take a lot of redirection and then put them in a different spot, like on their bed. Um, and if if it gets to the point where play or training or giving a chew doesn't work, then I would maybe do a brief timeout in the crate. So not as a punishment, but just like, okay, we're going to do a timeout, and I'm going to give you a chew item in your crate. Like right now, um, the naughty puppy is in the crate, but she does have a Kong in there with her, so she can chew on the Kong. Um, but she's kind of in a timeout for being naughty today, and because I have to do this and don't have time to, deal with a puppy right now. So, yeah, unfortunately, you're doing everything right. You just have to keep up with it. And I have one adult dog who still does it. Like if I catch her scratching on the couch, I'll just like, hey, enough, and then put her in a, in a downstay. Like she's allowed on the couch, but you have to downstay. Or if you're going to scratch, then you've got to go lay on your bed, and you don't get to be on the couch. So that's what I do. Oh, you went out hunting with a guy who does shed hunting. Oh, that's awesome. So my cousin is a hunter, and I give my dogs antlers to chew. And he says, yeah, if you ever want your dog to hunt for sheds, let them chew on them so they get the scent. Hi, Daff. What do you have in your mouth? What have you been chewing on? I think you guys had a heyday today. Um, so yeah, that's cool. They can hunt for sheds, which is really cool. Hi, Cindy. I'm gonna write Cindy down. I'm gonna be taking names as I see you get on. Um, oh, it's different than nesting. It's like a cat. Um, that's weird. So I'm honestly not sure what's going on if it's not nesting. Um, if it's more like when you say like a cat, are you talking about like a cat that does a scratch post and likes to sharpen their claws or their nails? And I have a blanket on my couch as well, but Daphne will move it and then scratch the couch. So instead of the dog blanket, she will scratch the couch. I just got rid of my couch because one of my clients just gave me a new couch that she was getting rid of, but it's like beautiful and perfect shape. And so because this one's leather and the other one was material, like she doesn't scratch this one because like it's more slippery, I guess, kind of. Um, so yeah, and then if a another thing that you could try is um, the scratch. So I have a scratch. Well, I do have a scratch board for my dogs or for my cat, but my dogs don't really like it. Um, but if it's the scratching that your dog likes, you could try like we call them scratch boards, and we use them to help dogs trim their nails when they don't like nail trims. So we teach them how to like paw at it, but we'll put treats on there and cover them and have the dog like paw at your hand to get the treat, and then they learn how to scratch the board. So it's just like plywood with sandpaper on it. So you might try that, but then yeah, if she continues, then I would calm her down, give her a timeout in the crate, but give her something to chew on, like a stuffed Kong in there. Um, oh, hi Michelle. My pen's running out. Okay, so Michelle, I told you a couple of weeks ago that I would have my sons two, and of course I have my two. It's very challenging. They are not getting along, so I've had them separated. Yeah, and sometimes you have to do that. So, uh, and that's really good management. So good job on that. Um, Sometimes you do have to just separate and manage it that way. Um, for those of you that are just tuning in, hello, Julie. Um, and also for those of you, I know where most of you are from by now, but if you don't join every week, if you wouldn't mind just telling me where you're from again so I can enter you in the drawing. Most of you I have memorized by now, but um, and my list is actually at my office and I'm at my house tonight. Um, so for those of you just joining, I have a puppy board and train with me. I'll give you the short version. And today she broke out of her crate and had a heyday, tearing up Amazon boxes, getting into bully sticks, chewing all the paper and stuff on my kitchen table, and shoes scattered all over. Luckily, she didn't chew the shoes. So she's kind of in a timeout with a toy. The other reason that she's in a timeout, and this ties into Michelle's comment. The puppy and Jade play really good outside. They can play good in the house. Um, but if I'm sitting on the couch and Jade is sitting on the couch with me, like right now, they've been playing. So, Jade's right here asleep. Um, but Jade has kind of started to resource guard me and or the couch. It's usually when I'm here, but I've seen it even happen when I'm across the room. So if the puppy comes up and Jade's in the mood to play, like they'll start playing. But sometimes the pup will come up like towards me and Jade will like snap at her and tell her to like back off. Um, Honestly, I have to say that she's not the brightest pup in the world. And so when Jade corrects her and tells her to back off, she doesn't. And so then Jake corrects her a little bit more. And I've never had them like fight because I mean, I don't let that happen because I'm always right here. Um, but since she doesn't really know how to take a correction, then I usually have to say, okay, enough. We're gonna separate, and then I put one outside. Or because I'm doing this tonight and I can't really supervise them, I have them separated. So that's the other reason that Stella's in the crate and Jade's on the couch. So, and they just heard something and ran out the dog door. Um, so yeah, how long, Michelle, do you have your son's dogs? Um, and sometimes it just takes time. Like sometimes after several days, you can start to do slow introductions. Another thing, if you have help, if you have somebody there with you, you can start doing like parallel walks. So go on some side by side walks together, um, things to like kind of get them used to each other, and then kind of go really slow. And a lot of times after a little bit, you can get them used to each other. Um, but it would depend on like how long you have them. If you only have them for a week, it might be easier just to keep them separated. But if you're going to have them for like a month, another thing that I've had to do before is crate and rotate. So, like, one's in a crate while the others are out. And then if there's two that don't get along, then one of those comes in and gets crated, and then the other one goes out. So I just kind of rotate them and kind of do it that way. So yeah, and it is very challenging and it takes a lot of work, which is why I don't do adult dog board and train. I only do puppies because I mean I know that my dogs will get along with other dogs, um, but I don't always know if other adult dogs are going to get along with my dogs, and I still have other clients during the day, so I don't ever want to leave them home alone unsupervised. Um, so that's why I only do puppies because it's really hard to manage that and do crate and rotate like all the time. So I would say your son owes you big time. Feel free to collect and say you owe me big time. Um, so yeah, but good job on just keeping them separated and managing your environment. Another thing you can do is do fun things in the presence of the other. So again, you would need help. So like with two dogs that don't get along, a lot of times we'll take both dogs out on leash and we'll do nose work in the grass, like separate, of course, so that they can't, um, they're not too close and they don't resource guard. But this dog's doing go hunt here and this dog's doing go hunt over here. But in their mind, it's like, oh, like when Rover's out, we get to play the go hunt game. So I like being around Rover because it's really fun. So it's kind of like, um, I like it when I go to my cousin's house because we get to go play at the lake or we get to do all these fun things. So depending on how long you have the dogs, you could start to do something like that. But again, very controlled and do fun things in the presence of another. It's going to take longer where you have your two dogs, your son's two dogs. So you'd have to do different combinations of those. But yeah, it would take time. So, but good job on managing. Good job on managing. Um, so Joey's doing well. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. And okay, Yumi, welcome. First time joining live. And yes, you can ask a question here. Um, let me write your name down first. And Yumi, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Um, but if you can tell me where you're from, I will enter you into the live drawing. And welcome to our live. I hope that you will join us every week. So, okay, I have a 1 year old golden. He does mouthing when he gets excited meeting new people. He only does it to people other than me, so it's hard to capture the moment to train. Do you have any advice on how I can work on this issue? Yes. So, what I what I do is I will have a dog. So whenever you have a behavior that you don't like, think about, okay, what do I want my dog to do instead? So I will teach impulse control, kind of like, oh shoot, I should have brought my treat bag in. Where did I? I left it in the car. Um, so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll ask the dog. So if the dog starts mouthing other people, you can ask them to turn their back, walk away, because your dog's kind of doing it for attention. So just have them ignore the dog. They can put their hands up, they can turn around, walk away, but then ask your dog to do something else instead. So like sit, and a really good cue to teach your dog would be hand targeting, which if you don't, Jade, I was going to show you what hand targeting is. She's probably out. Oh, here she is. Come here, we need you. Come here, can you come up here? So if I hold my hand out and say touch, yes. So all she does is touch her hand. Okay, touch. No, not my face. Here, right here. Touch. She just wants to lick. So, right, this is a good example. I don't want her licking. Touch. Right here. Yes, good girl. Good girl. And I don't have treats, so I'm just going to praise her and pet her. But hand targeting has to be done with a closed mouth. So then you can ask people to hold their hand out and have your dog hand target, because all they do is touch the nose to the hand, but it has to be done with a closed mouth. And then they can praise him, pet him, give him a treat for hand targeting rather than being mouthy. Another thing that I do is like I'll hold a treat in my hand, and if I feel teeth, I just kind of pull my hand away. But if the dog's not mouthing, then I'll slowly open my hand like a flower. If the dog starts to mouth, I close my hand and the treat goes away. If the dog sits and waits, then I open. And as long as the dog waits, and then I'll say, okay, get it. And then they can take a treat out of my hand. I always put a treat in and do it like, give a treat like you would feed a horse. Because if you hold a treat like this, dogs have to bite, use their teeth to get it out. And so that kind of encourages mouthiness. So ask your dog to sit, teach hand targeting. To do hand targeting, to teach it, I'll put a treat in between my fingers and like lure the dog to my hand because there's a treat there. I usually for this I use the puppered salmon treats because the dogs can smell them and they'll go right to your hand. And as soon as I feel their nose um, touch, I'll click and then give them the treat out of my hand. And then once they're doing that over and over, then I add the verbal cue and I'll say touch, and then they'll just come and touch, and then they get the treat. So I use a clicker, but you can use a verbal marker such as yes, um, something like that. So sometimes you have to instruct other people. Like I do this with Jade a lot. She's not mouthy, but she jumps. And so when people say, "Oh, she's so cute, can I meet your dog?" and I'm like, as long as she's not jumping. So if she jumps on you, I want you to turn your back and walk away. But as long as she's sitting or has four on the floor, you can pet her. And then I will put her. I'll say, "Jade, sit," and then I say, "Okay, now you can say hi to her. Now you can pet her." Um, and as long as she's sitting. So just think about like how do you want your dog to greet other people, and then train that. So a good sit and wait, or hand targeting, something like that that your dog can do instead of being mouthy. And it's normal for dogs, like they explore the world with their mouth, and that's how they play. So sometimes they're just trying to engage in play. So sometimes we just have to say, "Oh, can't bite me, sorry, and then sit, touch, and then okay, now I'll say hi to you." So does that make sense? That's usually what I do with puppies and young dogs. I'm sorry if you can hear Stella in the background. My three are out and she's in a crate, but again, it's because I can't really supervise. Um, oh yes, and Cindy, as soon as you wrote Florida, I remembered that you're from Florida. So let me just write that down. Okay, Julie, we went to the village square. Did great, especially when we went to an open door restaurant where they allow animals inside, and they did a perfect downstay while eating their fish. Awesome. That's good. Um, Good job. We do still have to work on their doggy skills where they don't pull us and start yelping. Um, I'm just writing down Michelle, Maryland, so I don't forget. That's great. But it's always a work in progress. I work with Jade. I should work with her every day. I don't always have time. But we're always working on her skills. And she's pretty good now when we're in public and she has her vest on. She doesn't pull, but if we're outside and there's grass or dirt or bark or wood chips, like then she'll pull and want to sniff. And she's a marker, so she loves to mark every bush. So we're working on that too. So it is always a work in progress, but that's awesome that your dog did a perfect downstay. Um, my dog won't even do that. I mean, I've been working with her for a year, and part of the problem is up until we started training her as a service dog, I would feed her from my plate, from the table. And so now that she can't do that in public, I've been letting her do it for a year and a half. So now it's like, oh, sorry, now I can't feed you from my plate out in public. And I don't at home now either because I don't want her to think that it's okay. So good job. Um, okay. So somebody's asking, do you have a favorite dog breed? Yes. Those of you who know me know that I am a pit bull girl. Um, I used to have German Shepherds, and I used to do search and rescue. I've had a few German Shepherds growing up, and I thought I would always have German Shepherds until my neighbors came home with a pit bull. And at first, I believed everything that I heard from the media, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to live next door to a pit bull. And I fell in love with the dog, and I have been rescuing pit bulls ever since. So I have eight. I mean, I've had eight. I have usually three or four at a time, but that's all I've had for the past 10 plus years is pit bulls. So yes, and I have to show you guys a picture of this dog that I might start to foster and maybe adopt. Um, so this is a little special needs dog. If you guys might not be able to see it. So this is like a bulldog, Frenchie, pit bull mix, crop ears, and he's got a really messed up spine, so his back legs don't work. So he'll have to have wheels or a cart or something. He's only 6 to 8 months old, super cute, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want four dogs, but I'm gonna foster him, and knowing me, it'll be a foster fail. But yeah, he's super cute. So yes, that is my favorite breed is pit bull. And the other funny thing is, while I was working at the rescue that I worked at for 3 plus years, I started to fall in love with Chihuahuas. Like they can be so naughty and bitey and mouthy, but I just fell in love with them. And we had one um, staff member who would get all the Chihuahuas in this little stroller and take them for a walk. And so there's all these little Chihuahuas in this little stroller going out for their little walk, and then she'd bring them back. It was adorable. So I fostered a Chihuahua one time that was, he was super naughty. He'd bitten everybody there. He was the first dog that I worked with when I started at the rescue, and everybody said, we can't get in to clean his kennel because he tries to bite us. And seriously, when they would go up to his kennel, he would start baring teeth. And he would launch at you. Like he wouldn't just wait till you went to grab him, he would launch at you and bite. So I taught him to hand target, which is what I was talking about for the mouthiness. Um, I taught him to hand target off his bed. So he had to like target my hand to get off the bed. And then I would put a slip lead on him and then take him out so that they could clean his kennel. So yeah, so I go from the great big pit bulls to the little teeny chihuahuas. I've never actually owned a chihuahua, but I do like them. Okay, and Yumi, I got you that you're from Florida. Okay. Um, okay, Cindy, they both went to same daycare today, not at the same time. No issues with either, only here is territorial. Oh, next time you'll take them both at the same time. Okay, good. Hey, Marion. Marion, I know where you're from, so you don't need to tell me. Marion's from Utah. She's about an hour. Um, oh, you did tell me, but yeah, I remembered. Marion's actually about an hour from me, or an hour and 20 minutes, but we've actually never met, so I just know where she lives. So, um, Because my neighbor is weed eating and my dogs get super overstimulated, I'm going to go grab them really quick and I will be right back. So don't go anywhere. Hi, girl. Okay, so talk about managing environment. I'll tell you why I just did that. So my dogs get along really, really well, but I've noticed a couple times when the neighbor is out mowing or weed trimming, um, the dogs will bark, and because there's a fence that separates, they get frustrated and like if we were to open the gate, they would go right up and like lick them to death. So it's not an aggression thing, but they get overstimulated and then they redirect on each other. And they don't hurt each other, but um, they do kind of get into a scuffle. They've never like drawn blood or anything like that. But since I just heard the weed trimmer from next door, I had to go grab them because I didn't want to have that happen while I'm doing this. So thank you for being patient with my little interruption. So I brought them in and closed the dog door so that they don't have the opportunity to practice that behavior that I do not like. So, um, okay, Marion, my 6-month-old lab overwhelms any visiting dog space. Suggestions. Um, yeah, so do the other dogs correct? So, like, as an example, when the puppy that's staying with me right now overwhelms Jade's space, Jade will give a little correction, like she'll growl, or she'll like show teeth, or she'll snap at her without like biting, and then the dog knows to back off. Um, so it depends on the other dog. If the other dog is like fine with it, like Maddie, is like she'll just dogs will jump all over her and she'll just like move her head like okay leave me alone, but she won't do anything or then she'll go lay down. If she goes to lay down and I can tell that she doesn't want the other dogs like all over her, then I'll step in and say okay come on enough, we're going to leave Maddie alone. um, so if the other dog like corrects without being too rough, I mean that's appropriate. It's appropriate for another dog to growl or snap and say like get out of my space. If the other dog doesn't um, correct, then sometimes you can just say okay too much, and just do like a positive interruption and just say like okay too much, and then separate, give your dog like a 1 minute timeout and then let your dog go back and play again. Sometimes I'll like today we were practicing in Home Depot with a dog, and there was a dog that like the two dogs were just pulling towards each other to meet. So I didn't have any control over the person that I didn't know, but the client that I was working with, I had them put their dog in a sit and a wait, and then when the dog showed some impulse control and waited, then it's like okay now you can go say hi, because you want to ask like is your dog friendly, stuff like that. So so to some extent I kind of let the dog work it out as much as I can, without fighting. So because dogs need to learn um, appropriate greeting and appropriate stuff, how to greet other dogs appropriate. And so again, if the other dog corrects, that's totally fine. And that should teach your lab like, oh, okay, I can't come on that strong. I can't overwhelm. I have to respect this dog's bubble or I'm going to get snapped at. If your dog, if your lab doesn't get the cue, then, um, I'll just do like a, okay, gotcha. And I'll just separate them, give them a 1 minute timeout, and then let go and let them go back in. Some dogs in puppy class, and I do this in puppy class all the time when a dog is just like overwhelming another dog. Some dogs have to have quite a few timeouts, and until they learn, like they can't be that overbearing, and then they kind of learn to calm down. So other dogs get it after one or two timeouts, then they can go back in and then they calm down. So yeah, try that. Just doing a little bit of impulse control. Um, and I would maybe put a leash on your lab so that if your lab does start to overwhelm another dog and doesn't take a cue, then you can say, okay, we're going this way. Because your dog's really not in trouble, like not doing anything wrong, just has to learn um, spatial awareness and stuff like that. So just do like a positive interrupt, redirect. So that's what I would do. Oh, okay. I said your name right, Yumi, and you're from Florida. Yes, and I hope you will um, join us. Hi, Anita. So, Anita, are you? Oh, so we have an Allison Solomon and an Anita Solomon. You guys probably aren't related. Allison's from Brooklyn, and I know Anita's from Florida. So we have three people from Florida tonight: Cindy, Yumi, and Anita. Um, so that's awesome. Okay, Yumi, I'll ask people to help too, and also try touch cues. He knows touch. Oh, good, he already knows touch. That's awesome. Um, you're welcome. Yeah. So with any behavior, I always tell people to think about what you want your dog to do instead. So, and to think of something incompatible. So, an example would be a dog that jumps. So, if instead of a dog jumping up, ask them to sit, because if they're sitting, they can't be jumping. If a dog's hand targeting with a closed mouth, they can't be mouthy. So, do something that they can't do at the same time as the behavior that you don't want. Also, catch your dog doing the good thing and the thing you like, and make sure you reward that. So, like today, I was working with some people, and we were at Home Depot, and we were working on leash pulling and stuff. And when the dog wasn't pulling, they were just kind of walking along and ignoring the dog, which is fine once the dog gets trained. But since we're having issues with pulling, it's like, oh, your dog is doing such a beautiful heel right now. Let's treat her and let her know that that's good. This is what you want. And, just give her a treat right now and say, oh, good girl, good heel. So that's, that's really normal with most people, is that we focus on what we don't want. But then when our dog is doing something really, really good, we ignore them because they're not getting in trouble. So when your dog does meet other people appropriately, make sure that you praise for that and or treat. Um, oh, Tink and I may have to head outside. She won't stop asking to go. Okay. Yes, please do a potty break. We don't want any accidents. Um, yes, in fact, Marion, I usually do not go to Ogden for clients, but if I ever do happen to go to Ogden, I will message you and see if we can meet up somewhere. Because I know you work a lot with service dogs, and um, yeah, I would love to talk service dogs. Um, okay, let's see. Um, okay, so Cindy, I'm going to come back to yours, Marion. So you do let the other dog correct, but he doesn't care. Um, he believes he's the best friend to everyone. Yes. So at that point, then I would say I would like just give your dog a positive interrupter, like, okay, we're going to take a time out and you're going to chill for a minute, and then I'll let you go back in. Because what could happen is eventually the other dog's going to get really fed up and maybe give your dog a harsher correction. And it depends on the dog. Like I would let Jade correct another dog and even do a stronger correction because I know that she's not going to attack another dog. Like she might give an easy correction, and then if the dog doesn't back off, she'll give a little bit stronger correction, and then um, she'll give a correction that sounds really bad, but she's actually not touching the dog. Um, and I think that's okay because the other dog needs to learn. It's like when I say no, I mean no. And if you're not going to back off, then I'm going to tell you a little bit more sternly. Um, so it does depend on the other dog too. Like we don't want the other dog to like attack your dog, but it is okay if they give a little bit harsher correction, and if your dog doesn't back off, then you interrupt and then let your dog calm down. Um, okay, and then Cindy, when you say why Joey doesn't back off still, what is that? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Or are you kind of commenting on Marion's issue that your dog does the same thing? Yes, and usually when I do timeouts in puppy class, it's 1 minute. Um, and I actually read in one of my behavior books that they're saying you don't need to do a long timeout for the dog to understand. In fact, if you do it too long, the dog doesn't like they forget what they're in a timeout for, and so sometimes it can be like 30 or 40 seconds to a minute, but not longer than a minute, and then you can let them resume play. Um, okay, and so we've done the leash. We are working on impulse control and separation anxiety. Okay, yeah, and impulse. Have you guys seen the 21 impulse control games that Pupper has? So when I first got started working with Pupford, I actually bought that, and I have to be honest, I haven't gone through them yet, but I plan to. It's just there's impulse control stuff that I do, but I always like to learn from other people and other trainers, and I'm like, wow, 21, I would love to see what other people do and incorporate that in. And I've just been so busy, I haven't gone through it. But you might check that out because I know they have a course on 21 impulse control games and things that you can do. So I would check that out. And let's see. And yeah, separation anxiety is always a work in progress. That can take a while to work on, especially with COVID and people not leaving. We're seeing a lot of separation anxiety right now just because people haven't been leaving. So now when I do puppy classes, I tell people if you work from home, if you don't leave your house, like make it a point to leave your house. Even like put your dog in a crate and leave for 5 minutes and come back. Or leave your dog in the house and go sit on the porch and read a book for 10 minutes and then come back. So you want to start leaving your dog a little bit at a time. Um, Joey had 20 other dogs to bother at daycare. Um, they all have bits and pieces. Pepper gets 100%. Not sure what that last word is. Um, yeah, that would be fun. We could meet up sometime and have lunch and chat. Um, okay, so Cindy, from what I'm gathering is that your dog gets corrected and then goes back at it. Um, so then I would maybe do a timeout and just like a positive timeout and just say, okay, timeout, and then take your dog out for 1 minute, let him calm down, decompress, and then let your dog go back in and play. That's what I would do. Yeah, and with 20 dogs, I would hope that they would have 2 to 3 staff members there. They should have one staff member for every 8 to 10 dogs, which is why I stopped taking my dog to daycare because they had one person for 30 dogs. And so it was impossible for them to look or to watch all of the dogs. So, um, yeah. And you could tell the staff members too, just say, like, I'm really working on my dog, like, not being overwhelming to other dogs and learn proper play style. So if he starts playing too rough, could you please just do a brief timeout? And they might already do that, but if they don't, you can ask them to. Oh, and Marion just put a link up to the 21 impulse control games. Thank you. That's awesome. I wish I knew how to do that. I'm very technology challenged. So what you just did and put the link up, I have no idea how to do that. So when we meet up for lunch, um, you can show me how to do that because don't I don't know. Okay, so he's great at daycare, but not other places. Um, Interesting. Yeah, so I mean, if he's great at daycare, that's good. That means he's getting some good social skills and he's learning some good stuff. If he's maybe just not good with you, he might be like just getting overly excited, overly stimulated, and then I would just, you know, give him a timeout. Oh, and when you're in the house with Pepper, yeah. So if Joey's like playing too rough with Pepper, then I would just do like a brief 1 minute timeout and let him decompress and then let him go back and play. Or um, and then and especially if Pepper's getting kind of annoyed or irritated, you could put Pepper in a crate and with a chew item, but that gives Pepper a break, and then Joey will have to go find something else to play with. So sometimes when I can tell that Maddie's getting fed up with the puppies that are here, I will put Maddie in her crate, but she loves her crate, and she is like, she doesn't think of it as a punishment. She's like, oh, thank you for like getting me away from these puppies. So she'll go right in, um, and then a lot of times she'll go in the crate on her own, and then I just close the door so they can't get to her. And then a lot of times I'll send the puppies outside to play with, toys or the other dogs, or and yeah, putting one dog on one side of the gate and then Joey on the other side, that works great too. That's managing your environment, which is great. Managing the dogs, perfect. So, funny, my dogs are like crashed out on the floor right now. It takes a lot of energy to run up and down the fence and bark at the neighbor that's mowing the lawn and weed trimming. So now they're crashed. Crazy dogs. Um, okay, let's see. I'm going to go back. I'm going to scroll back through and see if I missed anybody's question. Um, and then if not, um, we can do a drawing, and I'm happy to answer more questions. Let's see. Oh, okay, that's good to know. Um, yeah, you can totally share that. So Marion offers daycare in Ogden. I know that most of you guys are from other states, but um, yeah, if I get people, I don't get a lot of people from Ogden calling me just because I'm over an hour away, and there's some really good trainers in Ogden. But if I ever do, um, I will send them your way. Also, maybe so Marion, feel free to comment too, like on with these people that are having like issues with playing too rough, not respecting other dogs' space. Like, feel free to share what you do in your daycare situation because you might do stuff differently than the way I do it. I have smaller puppy classes, like 4 to 6 dogs, so they're like smaller play groups. And I actually don't do a free for all play session. I have 2 dogs meet that are similar energy and similar size, and then I let them play, and then we have 2 other dogs. So I do really small, like one-on-one play sessions. But yeah, if you have any tips on what you do with your daycare, that would be awesome. Like, feel free to comment. Julie, oh, that is such a good question. Any ideas on how to keep my 2 herding dogs occupied while it's 80 degrees outside? I'm trying to teach them to go through a hula hoop. Um, so one thing that I do is I have a kid pool in my yard, like one of those little kid swimming pools. Um, and I will throw in toys, or it's hard to do treats in the water, but I will put in like balls or like things that are going to sink to the bottom. So the dogs can play in the water and paw at stuff. Some, like Jade will stick her whole head in and grab stuff and bring it out. So we play stuff that is water based so that they get to cool off as well. Um, oh, and but Dakota won't go in the pool, but Ellie will. Um, so yeah, some stuff that you could do with Dakota would be like um, things you can do inside where it's cool. So like learning to do tricks. Um, I think Pupford has a course on tricks. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's great. Um, I have a book that I got from Amazon a while ago on 101 tricks to teach your dog. I've really only done like 2 with Jade. Um, I buy books faster than I can read them, so I'm always like, oh, that looks so good, and then I buy them faster than I can go through them. So yeah, you could do some stuff with a kiddie pool. You could also do the same thing with Dakota with a pool and sand or dirt. So if he doesn't like or she doesn't like the water, then you could, like hide toys or treats in sand and dirt and then let Dakota dig through it and find the treasures under there. Um, and Nicole just posted that she has a kid sprinkler that throws balls up a water stream. That's awesome. I I have to look for that because my dogs would probably love that. They love to play in the water, and they'll go jump in. So before the pool that I had from last year had holes in it, so I just throw that away. And I had a big like bin out there just for water for them. And Jade was getting like in the bin, and she would just stand there in the bin, and then all you could see was her little head poking out, but she was cooling off. And the other dogs were too big to fit in, so um, they couldn't cool off. But now I have a new pool for them. So, other things you could do would be like, I always like doing tri-ball with herding dogs because they have to herd the ball into a net. And you could do something like that through the sprinklers. Although Dakota may not like that, but Ellie might like playing fetch through sprinklers, play frisbee through sprinklers, um, anything like that where she's still being active but doing it with the water on. So you could try something like that. Um, and then Dakota, you could do like a flirt pull inside. Um, like tricks inside. The reason I like teaching tricks is because it's shaping. So you're doing shaping games, and it engages their brain, and then they really have to think, and it's going to tire them out. Um, and Cindy, yes, I have a backyard. So I have a big backyard that's fenced. So I have a pool. Um, they have toys out there, but I live up in the mountains. So, it doesn't get really hot up here, although it can get 80. I mean, we've definitely had some 80-degree weather um, already, but that's why I have the pool. Yeah, if you live in a townhome with no yard, that can be tough. So I would try to do stuff inside, like um, tricks, flirt pole. Also, when I take my dogs out on hikes, I always try to do hikes where there's water, so that they can play in the water and stay cooled off. Okay, Marion was saying that she has a dog run in her fenced backyard. This is for doggy daycare. For a new or unsure dog, I put them in there while the others run or switch. I observe their behaviors and add leashes as needed for emergencies for the first 15 minutes. I'll work with all the dogs with treating for the behaviors I like. Awesome. And that's what we used to do at the rescue. So we would let them meet first. We'd have leashes. Um, and then, we'd drop a leash. And then after we knew that they'd be fine, then we'd take the leashes off. Um, okay, let's see. I think I skipped somebody. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, Marion saying another fun game is a hard plastic pool, fill it with bags of ice. Oh, that's a good idea too. Um, I didn't think of that. I might have to do that too. My dogs actually like to eat ice, so they'll probably like eat it all. And yes, that's one reason why doggy daycare can be really good, because if you live in a townhome and have a high energy dog, getting them tired out by doggy daycare is great. I used to have a really high energy pit bull, and I used to send him to doggy daycare, and then he would come home and just crash, which was awesome. Um, oh, so you're going to be, so Nicole's saying they're supposed to be over 100 tomorrow in Oklahoma. And in New York, it was 90 plus. Yeah, it's getting hot here as well. Yes, and if you are hiking, anytime that you're hiking near water, you always want to make sure that your dog's vaccinated. So if you have puppies that don't have all their vaccinations yet, stay away from streams, lakes, things like that, because yeah, they can get giardia. Um, there's, if they drink water where deer and elk have like gone to the bathroom, then yeah, there's stuff that they can get. So yeah, when I say hike near water, make sure that your dog's fully vaccinated before you do that. And also find out what is specific to your area, like leptospirosis. They can always get giardia from drinking, water. Find out if your area has fleas, ticks, um, things like that, and make sure that your dog's vaccinated, or has flea and tick before you go out. And also good heartworm prevention, for mosquitoes. So yes, very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so if that's all the questions, let's go ahead and do a drawing. And then if anybody else has questions, I'm happy to hang around. So let me mix all these up in a bowl and do a drawing. I really need to teach Jade how to pick a paper out of the bowl. I mean, I do mix them up and pick one out, but it would be really cool. I'm gonna work on it, and then one day I'm gonna like put it on camera and have you guys watch Jade pick a name out of the bowl. It might take me a while to train her to do that. She is learning how to pick stuff up now, um, but usually she picks it up and then runs off with it and wants to chew it. And it's like, no, you got to bring it to me. So if I can teach her how to pick a name out of a bowl, that would be the cutest trick ever. So um, tonight's winner is Allison Solomon from Brooklyn. So congratulations, Allison. Um, you are going to email hello@pupper.com and let them know what kind of training treats you want, and they'll send you a free bag of training treats. So if there is a flavor that you have that your dog hasn't tried yet, you can try it. They have chicken, beef liver, rabbit, salmon, and sweet potato. Um, my dogs like the well, my dogs like all of them. But when I go to clients' houses, I usually use rabbit and salmon, and dogs love them. But my dogs love all of them. So congratulations. And then I will also email them and let them know that you're the winner. And then you can email them, give them your address. And oh, Emily, it was Allison Solomon from Brooklyn won tonight. And then Julie's asking about what about the beach? Can they get Giardia? You know what? I honestly don't know. I would ask your vet. So your vet in that area would know. And yeah, the salt may be not the greatest. I mean, I take my dogs to the lake and the reservoir and throw balls in and stuff and let them go in and get it and swim and stuff. Um, so yeah, I would ask your vet and just say like, is it safe for my dog to go to the ocean? I mean, I've seen lots of pictures and videos of dogs at the ocean, like playing on the beach and retrieving frisbees and stuff like that. So I would just ask your vet about the salt and then say, is there any special vaccine that I need for my dog to go to the ocean? And just make sure that you're covered. Okay, do we have any other questions before I sign off for the week? So Yumi, I hope you'll join us next week because next week you'll have another chance to win. And yeah, we do this every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Oh, I know what I was going to ask. So did you guys see the Instagram live on the new Pupford app? That was the big surprise that I was saying, stay tuned for something really cool. If you missed it, let me show you really quick. Let me get to my Pupford app. So with puppies especially, we want to socialize them with sounds. So we do sounds as well as other dogs, people, different surfaces. And I have an app that I use for all my clients with sounds. Oh, okay, Yumi. Yeah, you go take your dog, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining. So they have this new app. I'm sorry. Let me turn my light off and see if I can get rid of the glare. It might be dark, but oh, that didn't help. Let me see if I can turn it sideways. So they have this new app. They do have a clicker sound. Sorry, I can't get the glare to go away. But I have to tell you that what I paid for mine, these guys, I told them that they aren't charging enough, but they wanted to make it They wanted to make it affordable for everybody, and I mean, they did. So they have all of these sounds on here that you can help your dog learn different sounds. So like sirens, vacuums, thunder. I was trying to make a list of different sounds that I wish I had on mine. And I would make a list, and it's like, oh, they thought of that one. Oh, they thought of that one. They thought of everything. So they have training, animal sounds, home sounds like alarms, dishwashers, showers, different musical instruments, nature sounds like rain, wind, thunder, people sounds like sneezing, cheering, babies crying, different pet sounds, and then random sounds. Um, transportation, world, and recording. So you can actually, I know you can't see this, but you can actually record your own sound. So let's say that you have a um, a doorbell that your dog barks to, and you want to teach your dog like just to get used to that sound. You can record your own doorbell and then use that for a sound. Um, so anyway, it's new. It's the new app on the Pupford app, and it's amazing. I will be using this every single day because I work with puppies every day, and it's awesome. So what you do is you start with the sound like on your phone. You know, you everything's backwards from where I am, but you turn it down really low, and then you play the sound. And as soon as your dog hears the sound, you start just dropping treats. And then when the sound stops, the treats stop. And then you can turn it up a little bit, and then do it again, and then turn it up and do it again. And then if your dog like acts afraid or kind of cowers or spooks or barks, then back off on the volume. So this is a good way to get your dog used to, especially like thunderstorms and fireworks, which happen here in the spring and summer and all during the month of July. Um, so we have a state holiday, Pioneer Day, where I live, we have rodeos constantly. I mean, we have the 4th of July, the 24th, Cama Fiesta days. So we have fireworks all the time. So it's good to get your dog used to the sound. Um, and this is a great app. So I think it's like 99 cents or $1.99, and I said, oh, you guys should charge like $10. And they're like, oh no, we don't. We want to make it. So I would snag it. It's a great training tool, and I'm going to be using it a lot. So, hey, oh, Cindy's asking, have you ever tried a Zoom meet? Um, no, but you know what? Well, I use Zoom all the time for like private consults and stuff. But yes, um, any of you guys that want to do like Zoom meet, um, we have to use this platform just because we have 2 Facebook groups and YouTube. But you guys could private message each other and do Zoom meet, and then you can see each other's dogs and do stuff like that. That would be awesome. Um, okay, so I think we got through all the questions tonight. Thank you guys for joining. Um, I love doing this every week, and have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. Okay, have a great night.